Good morning, Spurs fans, and welcome to the Hotspur live stream. Of course, I am your host, Steve Silver, and thank you for tuning in. It is an absolute massive picture today as Spurs play host to Nottingham Forest, and of course, some would say this is even a six-pointer, to which I would 100% agree with that. And of course, it almost feels like this is a new look Tottenham Hotspur, as they seem to have found something, which is given fans a little bit of hope moving forward. One of the things that I will say is, before we actually get into the starting 11s today, what I will say is that something tangible happened last weekend at Liverpool, something tangible to the point where we can actually point to it and say, listen, that was something that we haven't seen in quite a long time. A team that was willing to fight for the badge, a team that was willing to fight to get back into a match, to pull a point into out of a place where we never get results, and doing something to Liverpool that good teams actually should be able to do, which is take advantage of a team that can't close out a match. Now, fast forward that to the midweek against Atletico Madrid, and they put on a beautiful performance for us. And I think from that standpoint, I think we were waiting to kind of see that. Well, how does that Premier League form translate to the Champions League, and then also vice versa, right? So we're going to see exactly what that looks like today against a Nottingham Forest team that, quite frankly, can and will put the hammer down on us if we're not careful. All right, let's go ahead. And I want to quickly say, please do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button, and also hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any upcoming stateside footy content. And of course, we are heading into international break. And so that means two matches featuring, from my standpoint, that's going to be absolutely fantastic. It's been forever today since we've seen the national break. I think it was back November. So that here on stateside footy. And of course, the U.S. does play Belgium and Portugal in that international window. So that should be an absolute bangers. I do want to welcome in Dan Davenport 9602, who goes on to say Steve with 8 E's. The world famous stateside footy man. I appreciate that, by the way. And then, of course, I got a friend coming over to watch Spurs match with me in 30 minutes. Excellent, man. I hope you guys definitely enjoy it. All right, so let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and take a look at the starting 11s today. That's interesting. All right. Spurs defensively, at least, will line up in a 4-4-2, and I think that is I think that has been made abundantly clear. Now, how they attack is a little bit more of a 3-4-3 or a little bit of a 3-4-2-1. And of course, we begin with in net. Of course, it's going to be Guillermo Vicario. And for those that were kind of wondering, Vicario is dealing with a hernia issue in which he will have surgery in a couple of days. Now, because Spurs have a 3-week break between now and the Sunderland match at the Stadium of Light, Vicario is going to have the surgery, and technically speaking, he should be back for that Sunderland match. So the timing with Vicario is absolutely impeccable. From that standpoint, I don't think that Tony Kinski is going to be able to get into the starting 11. And again, it has nothing to do with that first leg against Atletico Madrid. I personally do not hold him responsible for that performance, although some probably would. It just is what it is. It was what we like to call a shitty night at the office. It just happens, man. Let's see. The back three is going to be Van de Ven off the left, Danso off the right, and Romero, wearing the captain's armband, will be playing in that central defense area of the back three. A midfield four with Jed Spence off the left and Pedro Porro off the right. Okay, fair. It was interesting because Igor Tudor did say that Destiny Udogie is 100%, like pretty goddamn close to 100%. And so what does that mean for me? Well, it means that if you're good enough to wear the shirt, then you're good enough to play. That being said, you're looking for, especially when you're getting guys back, you're looking for, a scenario where a guy can go at least an hour, and maybe that's where the crux of the problem is he can't at least give us an hour. And so from that standpoint, Jed Spence will get the left side, and I probably would be remiss if I wouldn't say that we would see Destiny Udogie for at least a half hour in this one at some point. The midfield pairing is going to be Pap Sarr and Archie Gray, and I think Igor Tudor has stumbled on something very good with that midfield pairing. And then you're going to have Matisse Tell and Richarlison, and then, of course, Solanke up top. And I know a lot of fans were looking for a little bit of Rando Kolo Muani, but I think when you're looking at the way that this team attacks, having a guy like Solanke, who's a little bit more of a poacher, works incredibly hard. Yes, his movement isn't as great as Randall Kolo Muani, but from the standpoint, you do have Richarlison, who can potentially provide that movement in the box that you're looking for, and Solanke can potentially act as a poacher. So from that standpoint, they kind of play off each other a little bit. Although I wouldn't be upset if Randall Kolo Muani was in fact into this one. And of course, on the bench today for Spurs, will be Kinski, Udogie, Dragishin, Souza, Connor Gallagher, Jao Polini, Lucas Bergvall, Xavi Simons, and Randall Kolo Muani. It's nice to see Bergvall back, and I think you're going to see a situation where it probably will be Xavi Simons and Destiny Udogie probably first off the bench. But that being said, if we're also up by 2, it could be a situation where you might even see Jao Polini come in. So it's definitely something to keep your eye on. For Nottingham Forest, they're going to be in a 4-2-3-1. And then back, it's going to be Matty Sells, a back line of Williams, Murillo, Milinkovic, and Aina, a double pivot of Anderson and Sangare. And one of the things that Spurs have to watch out is the ability for Anderson to kind of take over. And one of the things that we saw against Crystal Palace was the exact same thing. What's his ass for Crystal Palace? Adam Morton literally took over and pretty much dominated that midfield possession. And Anderson also has that ability to do the exact same thing. And so one of what Spurs are going to have to do is, essentially press the shit out of Anderson and make sure that his touches are limited, and when he does touch the ball, that he doesn't have that space to dribble forward and start picking apart our defense, because he does have, essentially that world-class ability to do that. Their attacking 4 is going to be Hudson-Odoi off the left, Hutchinson on the right, with Morgan Gibbs-White wearing the captain's armband and playing in the 10. And then, of course, Igor Jesus will be up top. And, of course, we saw that last time we played Nottingham Forest, is that combination play between Morgan Gibbs-White, Callum Hudson-Odoi, and Igor Jesus. Those 3 played off each other to the point where they absolutely ripped us apart. And it was also in that match where we I'll say it, man, we did fuck all in that match to a point where, it was one of our worst performances of the season. And in that situation, we have a tremendous amount to play for in this match. So what I will say is that, this is going to be an opportunity to get back. And I would love to see what this team looks like with highly motivated players that remember exactly what Forrest did to us the first time around. And considering that this team does have a little confidence now, it's going to be interesting, man. And that's why I absolutely love this matchup. But quickly before we get into it, please tell me exactly how you guys feel this match is going to play. Do you like Spurs in this one? And if so, how much do you like them by? What is going to be your score prediction? I think on the Irish Hotspur this morning, I predicted a 3-1. I think we get our first within the first 15 minutes. We get another one right before the half. We get one some point mid-second half, and we kill this thing off. a part of me does believe that Forest will probably get one at some point. But that being said, I think this is going to be a 3-pointer. And the talk of relegation pretty much will go out the window. So let me know exactly how you guys feel about this one. Let me know exactly what your score prediction is. And we are getting dangerously close to the start of this one. And it's going to be a banger today. And it looks like the players are coming out right now. Looks like Dan Davenport 6902 in the chat says 2-1 to the good guys. Okay. I like it. All right. But again, the chat's going to be open all afternoon for this match. So, it would be awesome to have conversations with you guys. And man, let's have some fun today for this one. Before I get into it, before we actually get into the play-by-play, I do want to send a lot of love to Spurs fans. And if you guys were paying attention, pre-match, when fans started showing up the stadium this morning, God damn it, dude, it was like Bilbao after Bilbao. There were thousands upon thousands upon thousands of fans in the street with flares welcoming this Spurs team to the stadium, and it was unbelievably a beautiful sight to hold. And I understand the frustrations with Enoch, and I understand the frustrations with Vinev and Contesham and Johan Lang. I 100% get it. But that being said, there's nothing we can do about that at this stage. And as a matter of fact, I would probably say that it is a board issue at this stage. But the fans, the one thing that fans can do is get behind this team 100%, because whether we want to admit this or not, we are in a relegation dogfight, and what this team needs is the fan support in this one. And when I saw that this morning, it almost brought a tear to my eye, because it was like a beautiful sight to see. Fans lining the high road with flares and literally just showing their love and support for this team. And as a player, you can't help but get up for those type of moments, understanding that your home crowd, it's going to be packed to the rafters, and it's going to be noisy. It's going to be hostile. And those are the type of environments that, that absolutely breed confidence. One of the things that I will say when it comes to the fans is, if there's a mistake, just let it go. Just let it go. There's not really much that we can do about it. And as a player, you kind of want that short-term memory. So from that standpoint, it's all about those vibes, and it's all about making sure that this team is 100% backed 100% of the way. So it looks like we are about ready to kick off. Let's see. When Spurs sacked Frank, they should have gone for Marco Silva. I don't know about that. But we are ready to go. And there's Mr. Igor Tudor. I don't know. Look at that. I don't know. Look at what he's wearing today. Is that Italian fashion right there? I don't know. Looks good, I guess. But the players are getting together. They're huddling up right here, doing their little pregame talk right here as they're huddled up. And we are almost ready to go here, as it is Spurs versus Nottingham Forest at home. That's a beautiful banner. All together, always. I absolutely love it. Fans came out, and they're absolutely showing the love right here. So it looks like, I would probably be remiss to say, if the Spurs started playing to the north stand, in the second half, they generally usually play to the south. And it looks like Forest is done with their little pregame huddle. And yeah, Spurs will hold possession, as they are. It looks like, are they playing to the south stand of the first half? Yeah, they'll hold possession playing to the south stand. Interesting. As we are almost ready to go here, as kickoff has arrived, we are off. And that ball gets played back to Vicario, as Vicario will play this long down the left-hand side. as that gets headed forward. As it comes down, it looks like Romero played it long as that ball keeps pinging around. Ultimately, it comes down as that ball was looking for Tell, and that ball is going to get cleared by Forrest. Good ball, but right there was Mickey Van de Ven. And Van de Ven will hold it. And that ball will go long. Ultimately, it comes down as the long ball parade continues here. Finally, Nottingham Forest will come with it as that ball gets played all the way down to the left-hand side. As it gets played back to Matty Sells, as Spurs now will try to press Sells. Good ball movement by Forrest. As that will find Murillo now. As that goes down to Williams. And now there's a long ball. That's a play right there. That's picked off by Archie Gray. Archie Gray is now dribbling through the mid. Plays it forward, except looks like that back pocket was picked. Good play by Archie Gray to essentially get that interception in midair. That's a good ball right down the right-hand side. Looks like it's going to be Hutchinson. He can't handle it. As Matisse Tell can't handle it. Here's Hutchinson now. As there's a ball in. Back post. Good defense right there, and it looked like it was Kevin Danso. As that looks like that might be Jed Spence. That's a good ball through. Oh, good defense right there, as that looks like it was Murillo coming over. As Jed Spence made a beautiful run. That was a good through ball right there from Pedro Porro. But Spurs are taking away passing lanes early. Oh, too heavy of a touch right there. So Forrest now will try to counter. Here's Callum Hudson-Odoi. And he's going to play this one back as it's Williams. Here's Anderson. And he plays it back to Sangari. As it looks like Morgan Gibbs-White was deep to make a touch here. And that's a good ball through. Right there is Van de Ven, who plays it forward, but Matisse Tell could not find it. As Nottingham Forest here will hold possession early. Here's Anderson. As now they're going to recycle back through. As Milinkovic will play it off to Williams. Williams will hold it as he played deep down the left-hand side. And that ball will go back, looks like, to Sangare. Here's Hudson-Odoi. 1v1 against Porro, cuts in. And Spurs do a good job of taking that ball away. And I think there's going to be a whistle as Richarlison hits the deck as he's holding his jaw. Physical contact right there. And I think Spurs got the whistle. As Nottingham Forest was doing a good job of working this one deep. As they're replaying that ball in from the last possession, Kevin Danso 1v1 against Igor Jesus. As Spurs are trying to work it deep, and that ball gets turned over yet again. And now Forrest will play it long from the right side. Here's Jed Spence. And he's trapped between two defenders, but and Spurs come away with it. It's Archie Gray, and now there's a whistle. And they're going to say this is going against Spurs. Interesting. Play resumes. As it looks like Sangari is going to play it off to Murillo. And now he's going to go all the way down the left-hand side. It's Callum Hudson-Odoi now. Lays it in. Here's Anderson. Plays it off to Odoi again. 1v1. It looks like it's Spence and Porro. And right there is Vicario, as it looks like Anderson beat two defenders. As a matter of fact, that was a good flick as it was played through Pedro Porro and Jed Spence. That's a nice flick up over as Anderson was right there. And it looked like it might have been Kevin Danso right there to get a foot into it. Good defense right there by Spurs. So this will be a throw-in. It'll be Jed Spence. As Spence and Porro are essentially playing on the right side. Yeah. It looks like Spurs are attacking actually now in a 4-4-2 with Porro playing as a right mid with Spence playing behind him. And it looks like Van de Ven essentially is playing left back in front of Matisse Tell. And it looks like it's going to be Romero and Danso, I guess, as the center back pairing. As here comes Forrest now. As Morgan Gibbs-White will play it off. And it'll go to Aina. Here's Sangare. Plays it back to Milinkovic. Here's Anderson. And Spurs are doing a pretty good job. As there's a long ball deep, but right there is Jed Spence. Archie Gray tries to flick it up, but he does find Richarlison, as that is going to go out of bounds off the right-hand touchline. So it looks like this is still going to be a Spurs throw-in. So interesting dynamic here as Spurs are actually attacking in a 4-4-2. Don't necessarily mind it. As it looks like Richarlison hit the deck. There was no whistle right there. And here comes Forrest now as they make the switch to the right-hand side. As it looks like it's Hutchinson who will lay it off to Sangari, who's now is going to go right back to Hutchinson, but right there, a good Spurs defense. As Spurs are being pressed. As Matisse Tell does find Kevin Danso. As Danso is going to make that nice central pass. Richarlison will lay it off. Here's Pap Sarr. As Sarr dribbles across the halfway line, good through ball. And here comes Spurs now. Oh, that's good defense right there. And it looks like it was Milinkovic who saves it from a corner. Spurs a quick throw in. Oh, good pass. As Archie Gray is being hounded, so is Van de Ven. And that'll find its way out. So this will be a Spurs throw-in again. So early, Nottingham Forest has done a very good job of pressing the ball, not giving Spurs room to operate. Here's Jed Spence now, and he's got room. And there's going to be a ball in. And that's going to get out. And it looks like Aina was last to touch it. He had no choice but to play that out. So this will be Spurs' first corner at the 9-minute mark. And it looks like Solanke and Richarlison and Van de Ven are all at the far post here. Looks like Romero, Danso look like they're probably going to be playing into a central area. As this ball gets whipped in. As that went near post. Oh, that ball was tipped away. As Hutchinson. As that ball will go out. And it looked like it initially went off Hutchinson foot initially, but there was no whistle. So this will be a forced throw in. Spurs really couldn't do much with that corner as they went near post instead of far. As that ball will find a runner here. Hutchinson will play it all the way to the side where Callum Hudson-Odoi is. Right there is Jed Spence. Williams. As Odoi will play it to the back post, and that'll get out. Maybe a little bit too much right there for Callum Hudson-Odoi, but still a good break right there as Hutchinson made a run. Was able to hold on and pick out Callum Hudson-Odoi. But the cross in was just a little too much right there. And it looked like he was trying to pick out Morgan Gibbs-White there at the back post. As this ball will go long here. That's tipped forward in no man's land, but Forrest will come away with possession. As Ina will try to play it long. And coming out now is Vicario, as Danza will hold this. Here's Jed Spence now on the right-hand touchline. Good pass into the central area. And now all of a sudden, Forrest. As Igor Jesus will take down Kevin Danso before the ball goes out. So this will be a free kick for Spurs. As Danso will play this long down the right-hand side. As Richarlison takes a push in the back still. No whistle as that ball will go all the way down and Kevin Danso will retreat. Here's Archie. And Gray now will make the switch to the left-hand side. Does find Matisse Tell. Good switch right there. Here's Tell against Ina. 1v1. Cuts in. Tell. Shoots. Ooh, and it takes a deflection. Look at Matisse Tell. And it starts with an absolute beautiful switch ball to the left-hand side. And Matisse Tell absolutely burns Ina. Gets into a good shooting position. And it looked like it might have been Murillo right there. No, Sangare with the block right there. So that will go out for another corner. And it'll be Matisse Tell responsible for this corner. Ooh. As that goes all the way through. And I think it will, as last touch by Milinkovic, so this will be yet another Spurs corner. As Tell will do it again. Back post header. Oh. Ooh. And it just missed the far post. Looks like it was Richarlison who got on the end of it. Oh. Oh. And he just missed it. Oh. All right. So it was like about a foot off the far post. Okay. Still in a good area. Was able to pick out Richarlison there. As this ball will go long and Van de Ven will play it in. Down to Matisse Tell. And Tell. As now this will make its way to Porro off the right-hand side. Jed Spence. Out to Porro. 1v1 Porro. And that ball will take a deflection. As that will go out for a throw-in. off the right-hand side. So Spurs now all of a sudden are pressing forward and doing a very good job of it. As Kevin Danso will be responsible for this throw in here. I would probably be remiss if I wouldn't say that this is going to be a long throw in. Yep. As that one will go in, headed up. As that finds its way down. Spurs hold possession now. As Pedro Porro now will have the ball. There's a ball in. Back post. And it looks like they're going to say it was offside. Oh. As we look at the replay, and it looked like it first was initially headed, but it did hit the crossbar, hit the corner right there between the post and the crossbar. Good Lord. As Sells will play this long now. Archie Gray does a good job of getting it to it first. Archie Gray has kind of been everywhere so far in the first 15 minutes. He's been so far so excellent, man. As here comes Nottingham Forest. As looks like Murillo's being hounded. He's going to have to play this off to the right, and he does. Here's Milinkovic. And Milinkovic now is going to try to make that long pass, trying to find Igor Jesus. And Jesus holds it. Here's Anderson. He's now going to make the switch to the right. Finds Hutchinson. Ooh, and Hutchinson puts one on. But right there was Vicario. As coming into the box was Matisse Tell. 1v1 defending. And Hutchinson did a good job of creating space to get that shot off. As this ball gets played back to Vic. And it will be Romero. And Vicario will play this long. And here comes Williams. And now it's Hudson-Odoi dribbling through the mid. And we'll pass this off to Aina. Here comes Omari. And that's taken away. And it looks like Spurs tried to play one long, and Milinkovic is going to have to just play this one out of bounds. As we were pushing the 20-minute mark here in the first half, as Spurs are playing this one down the left-hand side, and that's going to get played out by Aina. As Matisse Tell doing a fantastic job down that left-hand side, trying to get around the corner. As this looks like will be a throw-in in the box. It's gonna get played out. Oh, no foul. And Hudson-Odoi will clear this. That looked like it was a legit foul in the box. The ref says no. Here's Matisse Tell now, playing it into a nice area. Solanke will feed it back to Tell. Until. Oh. And now the whistle is blown as both Matisse Tell and Archie Gray are down. And I think they're going to say this was against Spurs. As Papsar came in to hold it. As, Ina, that was a bad challenge by Ina against Papsar, but they say no foul. Oh, 100% that's a foul in the box. That should be a penalty. As Archie Gray continues to stay down here. Oh, boy. That was a bad decision right there by the ref. As Archie Gray is up. As he took a little bit of a stinger here. Looks like he'll be all right. As Archie Gray came in to make a challenge on Sangare. And it looks like maybe Sangare's boot did clip him, but Forest will start off with possession, but this one comes down, and Spurs will now hold it as it's played back to Vicario. And that'll be Kevin Danso. As this one will go long. And that was held in. Oh, no, they'll say it went out. Okay, interesting. It looked like it stayed in, but this will be a Spurs throw-in off the right-hand side. As Archie Gray still looks like he's in pain. As that one eventually will get out, so this will be a Forest throw-in. As we are pushing the 23rd minute. As Hutchinson now will have this ball as he crosses the midway line. As Spurs are unfortunate not to get the penalty right there against Ina. 100% that was a foul in the box. As Williams now will play it. That's a good ball forward. And it's Kevin Danso. And there's going to be a foul here against Forest as Poro goes down. And it looks like that will go against Anderson. Spurs have actually done a very good job against Anderson. As Vicario will take this free kick here. As this one will go long now. Headed down. Right to Matisse Tell, who plays it forward. Around the corner. In. Ooh, good defense right there. As Mickey Van de Ven will lay down. As we see it again, Van de Ven was the overlap. And yeah, it looks like Ina again. Looks like he stepped on the toe. I don't know, man. Van de Ven looks pretty good on that overlap, man. Kind of interesting that we didn't try that a little earlier. But it'll be a long throw. That's going to be headed down. Gray will pop it back in. And now Anderson will clear it. And it's Archie Gray who takes it away. And immediately he'll play it back to Vicario. And Spurs will reset now. And it's Teastel. Here's Romero. And it's Danso. As Vicario again will play it long. There's just nobody there. And there's a whistle against Richarlison. So Spurs will have the free kick again. I don't have a problem with the long kick from the goalkeeper position. But that being said, you're going to have to target somebody out. You just can't play it long into no man's land without anybody there to actually go up and make that 50-50 challenge. It makes absolutely no sense. And it's Kevin Danso who's going to try to play one forward. Tries to find Richarlison as that one will go out. So it'll be, again, a Spurs throwing off the right-hand side. It just doesn't make sense in my opinion. Essentially conceding possession. Here's Pedro Porro trying to play it through two defenders to find Richarlison as Williams now is trapped in the corner. And they're going to say goal kick. Yeah, it did go off of Pedro Porro. It was ultimately a bad decision right there by Pedro Porro to try to play it through the wickets of two defenders, as Forrest actually did a very good job of closing down the ball right there. As Sells now will play it long. That's a good header forward. Chasing it back is Williams. And now Murillo will play it long. And it looks like that might have been Kevin Danso to make the challenge. Spurs come away with it. Jed Spence tries to play it forward, and he's got Richarlison. Oh! Ooh, he had somebody there. It was Solanke as the ball goes right past Solanke's foot. Oh, it should have been 1-0. Oh, and I think Richarlison might have been offside, though. Oh, Solanke. Oh. Good play right there by Richarlison. Oh. This season, by the way, Richarlison has 9 goals, which is a club high for Richarlison. Spurs have actually done a pretty good job. Here's Richarlison. That ball is going to take a block. And Archie Gray is just going to play one forward for some reason. As this will find Matty Sells. Oh, nearly 1-0. That was good. That was good movement right there. But I'll tell you what, Spurs have done a fantastic job with these 50-50 balls. Here's Archie Gray now, and he's got room. And Gray will play it off to Pedro Porro, and that's going to take a deflection off of Williams, and he goes down. It looks like that might have been played off his nuts. He immediately went down. Yeah, and he's kind of holding. Yeah. Yeah, that one went right off that dude's dick and into the crowd. So this will be a corner. I feel bad for Williams. Good Lord, man. Oh, man. As Matisse Tell will take this corner. As Tell will try to go back post. As Matty Sells will try to punch it away. As we see it again. As Richarlison tried to pop it back up. But I think they're going to say this one's a corner. As those Spurs will have another opportunity here. As that one will go a little out as Richarlison went up 50-50. Looks like he took a beating. That's a good sliding tackle right there by Pedro Porro. So that one will go out. And Forrest now will have the throw in. So all momentum stopped right there. As Richarlison went up. Took an absolute beating going up, but god damn it, that was beautiful. As Spurs currently leading the corner battle, they've actually been the aggressor here. As Van de Ven is going to try to dribble past his marker, and he does. Van de Ven will leave it off to Tell. As Tell's going to play one in. Back post! Ooh, and it just gets over Richarlison's head. Good play right there by Matisse Tell. As over the course of the last 15 minutes, Spurs have been the aggressor here in the attacking end. And Matisse Tell barely just missed Richarlison at the back post. But again, you have to look at the Spurs attack as very, very promising. As Sells will play this long. Down the left-hand side. As Archie Gray went up. Came down with it. As Solanke comes away with it. And now he'll turn up. Playing in Matisse Tell. Tell against Milenkovic. And I think this is going to get out for yet another corner. Good ball movement between Tell and Solanke. As Tell waited just an extra half a second. Instead of continuing to dribble, he should have just played it to Richarlison. But regardless, it'll be another corner for Spurs. As Tell will put one in. As that'll go out again. So I think, again, this will be another corner. As looks like Tell went near post there. And, of course, Forrest has most of their defenders at the near post. As we'll try this one again. Tell. As that one will get played out. But right there is Jed Spence. Here's Matisse Tell trying to dribble against two. As he releases it to Spence. Now Spence is going to try to play one in. That's going to take a header away and out. And that was Murillo. And it almost feels like Spurs has Forrest pinned back at the moment. And rightfully so. So this will be their 8th corner so far of the first half. Eventually, they're going to have to convert on one of these. As Tell will do it again. As that ball gets whipped in. And that's automatically going to get cleared as Tell will come out. As they play this one across. It's Apsar. Here's Spence. Pedro Porro will play it back. And it's Archie Gray. As Gray now will make the switch. And that's going to get hit hit forward. And Forrest will try to clear, but right there is Archie Gray. As he plays it back to Vicario, and Spurs will reset here. And it's Kevin Danso. Spurs have done a very good job here. Oh, what a nice move. Solanke actually beat his man, gets tripped in the process. And yeah, looks like that was Sangari right there. That was such a good move by Solanke. And in the process, yeah, Sangari straight up just stepped on his foot. As Van de Ven will play it forward. Good ball right here. As Tell will go 1v1 against Sangari. And he flicks it back. Good move right there by Tell. As Spurs will try to reset. It's Archie Gray. Here's Danso. Oh, good ball forward. Here's Jed Spence is going to try to play one in. Ooh, good clearance right there by Forrest. He had a man picked out right there. Yeah, and it was Richarlison. Good defense right there by Forrest. There's a little chip forward, and it's Richarlison who's going to try to play this one forward. Good defense again by Forrest. And that gets cleared out. And there's going to be a whistle as Anderson will go down. And they're going to say that one was against Christian Romero. For the last 15, 20 minutes, Spurs literally have pinned Forrest back, have not been able to get paid off. So this will be a free kick for Forrest. And that ball will find Milinkovic. As that gets played back to Murillo. Here's Williams now. Actually, it was Hudson-Odoi. But there's the switch to Aina. As it'll be Omari Hutchinson. And now Hutchinson will try to play it in. Cleared it away. As that one will go out. Last touch, I believe, by Omari Hutchinson. So that'll be a Spurs throw-in. Spurs have done a fantastic job, man. Credit for us for their defense. Oh, as it looked like maybe Papsar tried to play it in, maybe a little too far. Here's Solanke. As Spurs try to reset. Here's Papsar. As Van de Ven will play it back. Here's Archie Gray. Spurs currently are 2-4-9 at home in the Premier League this season. Absolutely dreadful. As Matisse Tell does a good job right there of holding possession, but Forrester doing a good job here. As Spurs now are playing a little bit more deeper into their half of the pitch than they would like. As Vicario will play it to Danso. There's a chip forward. As Williams will try to play it forward, but there's Vicario. As here's Matisse Tell. As Van de Ven did a very good job. of quickly moving it to the left. Here's Archie Gray. Good pass forward to Richarlison. And Spurs come away with it. Oh, good tackle. I think that might have been Anderson. And now it's Morgan Gibbs-White trying to cut in. And they're going to say that was a foul on Spence right there. So Forest will have a free kick from a pretty advantageous position right here. Deep down the left-hand side. As we are now approaching the 41st minute. 4 minutes left here in the half. As Forest will have a nice free kick here from about, I want to say about 35 yards away off the left-hand side. As Spurs have to remain turned on here. And there's a ball that's going to go all the way down the left-hand side. It looked like it was Hutchinson. There's a ball in, and that's going to be headed out. And Forest will hold possession. And Spurs will come away with the ball. Good defense. And that's a good ball in the middle. And now they're going to play it down the left-hand side. And Richarlison can't keep it in. Good, quick counter-attacking transition for Spurs. But Forest will retain possession here. As Morgan Gibbs-White comes deep to make a touch here. As that ball gets played back to Williams. As Milinkovic will play it up the right-hand side to Ina. And it's Amari Hutchinson. Back to Ina. As it looks like three players are just playing 1-2s down the right-hand side, but now they're going to make the switch to the left-hand side. Here's Williams. Finds Gibbs-White. As that's going to take a deflection. And it's Williams that will hold it. Here's Callum Hudson-Odoi. Trying to play it down the left-hand side, trying to find Morgan Gibbs-White. And I think last touch by Archie Gray. So I think Forest is going to get their first corner. And they certainly will. So we'll see how Spurs defend this. After a barrage of good front-footed play by Spurs over the course of the last 20 minutes, now all of a sudden Forest now is starting to get forward here towards the end of the first half. And looks like it'll be Morgan Gibbs-White here. As that ball will go in. As that'll be headed out. Ooh. As Igor Jesus, as that ball came back in, Jesus got a head on it. And it required Vicario with a nice little timely save right there. Actually, it was Jesus' foot. Ooh. Nice little play right there. So that'll go out again for another corner. As that ball gets whipped in. Headed on. Oh, and it's goal by Forest. And it's Igor Jesus. At the final minutes of the first half. As Forest will take the lead. Oh, as we see it again, as that ball was played beautifully into the back post, over the head of it looks like it was a jumping Romero. Oh, and Forrest now will grab the lead right here at the end of the first half. So for all the good play that Spurs actually had in that first half, couldn't find the lead. It's Forrest right at the end of the first half here. As 2 minutes of added time have been added. Here comes Spurs now. As Pedro Porro tries to keep it in. Spurs do hold it in. There's a shot. Ooh, good deflection right by Forrest. And that gets cleared out, but there's Archie Gray to hold it back in. As that falls, Spurs will hold possession. Good ball in. Sarr will find Porro. Back post, there's Richarlison as it flies out. Held in. As Sarr will hold it in, here's Matisse Tell. Tell is going to fire it. Oh, and I think it hit the woodwork. And I think Spurs are looking for a penalty. As it looks like, as we see it again, and Tell hit the crossbar coming down. Oh, 100% like Williams. As we see it again, that shot goes in from Tell. It hits the woodwork. And it looks like Williams came over the back of Romero there. Oh. And now there's going to be a VAR check here at the end of the first half. Oh, VAR still doesn't award Spurs a penalty. Unfucking real. As he came over the back and had his face, and Williams had his hands on the face of Romero as he wrenched. No penalty. Unbelievable. It's amazing that this team twice in this first half had two penalties. Easily had two penalties and nothing to show for it. Unreal. Unreal. How that could happen. Spurs, though, played excellently here in the first half. I think anybody that has watching it saw the commitment, saw the composure, but also the confidence in the way that they attacked. They just could not find the back of the net. Again, Spurs had two opportunities there to get a penalty. Both times the referees have chalked it off. And again, I guess this gets into a conversation of what these refs are actually looking at. Because that being said, if it was the other way around, I would probably assume that there would be a penalty rewarded. I'm not going to get into this weird conspiracy theory that PGMOL literally just doesn't like Spurs. I don't know what the case could be, but that being said, we have VAR for a reason. And VAR, for whatever reason, does not like to overturn call field unless it's an absolute blatant foul. And that absolutely was a blatant foul. That easily should have been a penalty at that point. But again, chalked off, and it is what it is. So let's go ahead and take a look at the stats here in the first half. As Spurs do lead the possession battle 52-48. When it comes to XG, Spurs 0.35 to Forest's 0.20. Total shots, Spurs 5, Forest 3. Shots on target, 3-1 Forest. Spurs had one big chance and missed it. Accurate passes, Forest 166, Spurs 158. Fouls committed are even at 5. Corner battle, Spurs 8, Forest 2. When you're looking at XG from open play, Spurs 0.22, Forest 0.04. XG on set plays 0.16 to 0.13 for Forest. When you're looking at shots, Spurs have hit the woodwork once. Shots inside the box, 3-2 Forest. Shots outside the box, Spurs 3, Forest 0. So pretty close when it comes to shots. Total passes, it is even at 207. Passes in the own half, Forest 85, Spurs 80. Passes in the opposition half, 81-78. Accurate long balls, 11-11. Accurate crosses are even at 1-1. Spurs have 10 throws to Forest's 5. Touches in the opposition box, 14-9 Spurs. No discipline. 2 offside for Spurs, none for Forest. The tackle battle, Forest currently leads at 15-12. Interceptions are even at 3-3. Blocks, Forest 3, Spurs none. Clearances 28-5. And keeper saves 2-1 to Spurs. The duel battle, Spurs are currently leading at 38-30. Ground duels 25-22 Spurs. Aerial duels 13-8 Spurs, and successful dribbles 8-2 to Spurs. So it shows you that in the context of this first half, Spurs have been the far and away the more attacking team. They just haven't been able to cash in from some of the good work that they've had on the attacking side. And what I will say is Spurs did find a few passes into that final third. It was good defense by Nottingham Forest that prevented Spurs from getting on the board first, but they were far and away the more attacking team in that first half. So, man, it is a little bit of a bitter pill to swallow here. Spurs should have been able to get rewarded. As those first half highlights are being shown currently at the moment. But what I will say is that I think Igor Jesus, I would probably assume you're not going to see any halftime changes. I can't imagine that would be the case. You can't necessarily look at that and say that, it was a bad configuration. Spurs did everything right. They were able to work the ball deep. They were able to get shots on net. They were just unlucky in a few different occasions. When it comes to shots hitting the woodwork, and of course, not being rewarded a penalty twice, really, where penalties should have been rewarded. As it looks like currently we're looking at first half highlights from West Ham versus Aston Villa, and it looks like Villa. Ooh. It looks like Villa is currently leading at the half. As of right now, live points included, it looks like if Forest were able to hang on, they would take a 2-point lead over Spurs, as Spurs would still hold the 1-point advantage over West Ham. But we still have a lot of football left to play here in the second half, as Spurs are very much still in this match. So from that standpoint, I would probably assume that Igor Tudor is not going to do much. I think the conversation at halftime is going to be continuing to do exactly he's probably going to say exactly what it should be said that keep on playing your game. Eventually, that goal is going to come, because again, they're doing everything right. It was just it's unfortunate that they would concede right there at the end of the first half. But man, that's a tough bullet to tough bullet to eat right there at the end of the first half when it was clearly a penalty and you still don't get paid off. Carl Slim Blue, aka audio artisan, my guy Carl Slim, says, why can't we have nice things? That's a great question. Why can't we have nice things? You tell me. I would say that for anybody watching that first half, you would probably say that Spurs were the better team. They were doing everything right and just couldn't get the payoff. But that being said, if they continue with the intensity in which they were attacking in that first half, eventually good things will come. Nice things will come. I do want to thank everybody that are tuning in, those that are tuning in via X and of course here on YouTube. And of course the guys that are hanging out in the chat, my guy Dan Davenport and Carl Slim Blue, please do me a favor and make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and also hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any upcoming Stateside Footy content. Because of course this week international break, and for those, yes, very much yes, we will be covering the U.S. men's national team as they play host to Belgium and Portugal in what will be a World Cup warm-up. It's going to be interesting to see exactly what that team looks like against very good European competition. So both matches will be here on Stateside Footy, and it should be unbelievable. I'm looking forward to it. So definitely make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and also hit the notification bell. And a quick, in a quick word, during the World Cup as well too. I won't just be doing the U.S. men's national team. I will be doing some matches featuring England. Same thing with Scotland. And if Ireland happens to make it in, I will be also doing some Ireland as well too. Hopefully those dudes figure out a way to make it in, as of course this is a big weekend for UEFA as well too, just considering all the playoffs that are going on. And we will find out exactly who the final entrants into the field of 48 for the upcoming World Cup here in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Yeah, man, it's going to be fun. It's going to be absolutely fun here on Stateside Footy. So as we get ready for the second half of this one, I'm kind of curious to know exactly how you guys felt about that first half. What were some of the areas that Spurs could improve on? And would you make any changes coming into the second half, or do you just feel like Igor Tudor got it right and it was just an issue of bad luck? You guys let me know. Give me 1 second, guys. Give me 1 second and I will be back. Hey, look at that. We're back. How quick was that? What's going on with Sunderland? What is going on with Sunderland? As we're looking at this real quick. Let's go ahead and take a look real quick. Oh, looks like oh wow, looks like Sunderland actually beat Newcastle today 2-1. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Good for Sunderland. Everton dummied Chelsea yesterday 3-0. Wow. Leeds and Brentford played to a 0-0 draw. Fulham beat Burnley. Brighton beats Liverpool. Wow. And Man United played to a 2-2 draw against Bournemouth. Interesting. As Carlson Blue says, I feel like there's effort, but the quality is lacking. We shouldn't be losing. I don't know, man. I disagree with that. I actually think there has been quality. There were a few times where Spurs did a very good job to work that ball deep, and it was very good defense on Forrest's part there. That's kind of the way I look at it, but I can understand exactly where you're coming from, Carl. I really do. Especially on that defensive end, when it comes to set pieces, man, that shit pisses me off where all of a sudden, you know, a mistimed jump results in a goal. And I understand, and you shouldn't be relying on refs to kind of bail you out. But that being said, it's like what pisses me off is the fact that clear-cut fouls in the box twice in that first half, once on Aina, and again on Williams, and there's just no repercussion for it. That to me pisses me off because that's the reason why you have VAR to begin with, right? And if refs aren't going to make do right by teams, and I understand, man, the last thing you want to do is reverse course on a decision on the field. But that being said, if it's clear cut, man, it's clear cut. You make the call. But it is what it is. Let's see. Play seems slower today. Everyone taking touches and not moving it fast enough. I don't know, man. It looks like Spurs were very hell bent on getting forward. Making good touches in the mid, playing off of it, getting the ball forward. Now, will I say that their long passes, their long passes haven't exactly been great. And sometimes, they're playing balls forward into areas where there isn't anybody there to go up and get it. But I don't know, man. It seems like they're doing a good job to try to win balls back. Now, is this going to be a situation where maybe Igor Tudor rolls the dice and brings out a guy like Xavi at the half? Maybe. Me personally, I thought Xavi should have started today, but I understand exactly why he didn't. But what I will say is that I get it. I get what you're saying, man. I really do. I get what you're saying, and I can understand why you're saying it. It's for me. It seems like it's hard to disagree, but I don't know, man. I don't know. As look at, by the way, I'm just kind of curious about Spurs bench. Yeah, so we have Destiny Udogie, Radu Dragusin, Souza, Gallagher, Polinia, Bergvall, Xavi Simons, and Randall Colomwani. Is this a situation where potentially you bring in a Randall Colomwani for a Dominic Solanke, and you switch with Randall kind of playing that right-sided nine with Richarlison moving to the left? Maybe you bring in Xavi for Sarr, although Sarr has kind of had a pretty good first half. And it looks like there is going to be two switches here to start the second half. And it looks like Destiny Udogie and Lucas Bergvall are going to be coming in here. So we will see exactly what that is. Who is coming off? Who's going to be coming off here in this situation as we're getting ready to start this second half here. And we will find out first. So it looks like Mickey Van de Ven is coming off for Destiny Udogie. As Lucas Bergvall looks like he's coming on for what, Pap Sarr? As Porro now goes into right back. So no, it looks like maybe Jed Spence has come off. Okay. Looks like play is about ready to start here. All right. As Carlson Blue says, he thinks it's going to take a set piece or a corner to get back into it, although Spurs have had 8 corners up to this point. As Kevin Danso does a very good job against Amari Hutchinson. As Hutchinson was going 1v1 trying to get around the corner. And Kevin Danso did a very good job right there defensively. So Spurs will have possession now. And there's a long ball deep, trying to find Richarlison. As it looks like that was pretty good defense right there, as Destiny Udogie will go back. That's a good ball through into the mid. As that will find Kevin Danso as they make that switch over to Richarlison. Yeah, I'm a little confused by those subs as well, too. I wasn't necessarily expecting Bergvall or Udogie at this stage of the game. As Papsar now will play it forward. That's a good ball out. Here's Destiny Udogie. Plays it off to Matisse Tell, who's got space. Plays it forward to Udogie. As he's going to play it forward, that's going to take a deflection. And now Forrest will try to play it forward, except it goes into no man's land, and Kevin Danso's there to clean this up. As Papsar now will hold the ball. As that gets played over back to Danso off the left-hand side. That's a good ball in. Here's Matisse Tell. As that looks like that'll go out. And it looks like it to be a Spurs throw in here off the left-hand side. As Danso now will play it around. As Udogie looked to almost be trapped there off the left-hand touchline, but that ball finds Romero. As Romero will play it forward. Flicked on by Gray, and now it's going to be cleared. But Spurs will hold possession here. Yeah, I'm a little confused by those subs as well, too. I think it might have been a little too early right there for Bergvall and Udogie. Spurs coming into this one in 16th place, 1 point above the drop. As this is a massive fixture for Spurs, as Vicario will play this long, and that one will go out. So Forrest will have possession here. As some will look at this as a 6-pointer, I would probably agree with that. As Williams will play this, looks like to play it forward here. As Kevin Danso now will play this forward. One of the things that I've noticed so far here in the second half is Spurs really don't necessarily have options as they did in the first half. And that's, I guess, kind of the confusing nature of those subs. Because Spurs right now just don't necessarily have those options, as it looks like Romero is trying to pick out Bergvall. Here comes the counterattack now. Here's Callum Hudson-Odoi. As that one will get laid back. Here's Aina now on the right-hand side. Plays it down to Amari Hutchinson. As Udogie. As that one gets laid off for Anderson. And that ball's going to find the back end. And there's Vicario right there with the save. And now there's the clearance. Do you think there might have been a busy up in the dressing room? The subs seem a busy up. What do you mean by a busy up? As that one will find Matty Sells, and now he's going to try to play this one long. Headed forward. And now it'll come down to Archie Gray. Gray is now going to try to make the switch. And he does a very good job. There's a ball in, and that's going to be cleared away by Milinkovic, as it looked like it was for Charlotte right there. Again, another very good switch right there by Archie Gray. And that was a little bit, bust up, yeah. Maybe. There could have been. I mean, let's be perfectly honest, though. No player likes to come out at the half. As that corner, and now there's going to be a whistle as that ball was bouncing out of the box. So I think they're going to say a foul on Spurs. Yeah, there very could have been. Although I didn't necessarily think that Mickey Van de Ven should have been taken out at this early of a stage. I thought he was actually playing pretty well as that left back. Spurs need to be careful too, because the last time down, Anderson picked out a wide open Williams right on the left-hand edge of the 6-yard box. That was a good save by Vicario, but goddamn, he was wide open. As there's a ball forward. Right there's Kevin Danso. As Matisse Tell is trying to work his way out of this one. Yeah, that could be. I'm thinking Jed and Mickey might have said something. Yeah, maybe. You very well could be right. As it looks like this will be a free kick here for Spurs up the left-hand side. Play resumes. Very well could have been a bust up. Maybe Igor saw something that he didn't like. As Bergvall will play it in. Here's Bergvall. Oh. Again, rough play. It results in no whistle as Bergvall was trying to play one into the box. As Spurs come away with it. And now there's going to be a whistle. And it's going to be a yellow card. And it looks like that's going to be against Sangare. Yeah, 100%. As he was all over Romero right there. Yep, I'm with you, Carl. It's been terrible refereeing today. I don't necessarily like that as an excuse, but that being said, it's like, man, Spurs get one of those calls and it's a completely different story. And there's a ball in as Romero tries to head one forward and it goes wide. As Igor Tudor, you can potentially see some frustration, but we'll see exactly how this thing will play out. As Spurs are yet the only team yet to get a win in 2026, as that was nearly taken away. As that ball will go down the left-hand side, finds Matisse Tell. As Tell will play one in. Comes down to Archie Gray. Finds Richarlison. There's a ball in. And it'll go through and find Matisse Tell. Here's Udoji. Udoji's going to try to play one in. And that's going to get cleared out, so it'll be a Spurs throw-in. As we have Chankmatine, who says 1-1 on you Spurs. Maybe you know something we don't. Here's Gray. Papsar will play it all the way to the left. Here's Tell. Good ball. Here's Tell. Archie Gray gets he gets deflected, and then Gray puts it over the bar. Oh. Oh, Archie. Spurs just need to remain calm here. We're still only in the approaching the 56-minute mark here. They still need to be calm. They don't need to rush things. Jesus Christ, the dude got crushed. No whistle yet again. And now they're going to give a whistle for Hutchinson against Hell. Unreal. As this refereeing is so one-sided. Igor Tudor looks like he's losing his mind. Spurs still very much into this one, as this will be a free kick here. As that one will get played maybe a little deeper, as that's going to get headed out. Kept in. As now Williams will play one in, and that'll get out for a goal kick. Yeah, and there was nobody around right there for that ball at the far post. As that ball will find Destiny Udogie. And that was an errant pass. And that'll find Anderson. So here comes Forrest now. Spurs can't afford to make these mistakes here. And here's Callum Hudson-Odoi. Spurs are trying to press the ball here. As this one works all the way around. And that's taken away by Spurs. And there's a whistle. As Lucas Bergvall hits the deck. Let's see who's going to stand up to the pressure. Tell looks like the only one capable of getting a goal. He'll probably be taken off for RKM. Maybe. I don't know. This looks like a job for this potentially looks like a job for Xavi. As Romero now will try to ping this one forward. And that will find Hutchinson. And he skies this one. Headed down. Good play right there by Romero. And Romero gets taken down by Singari. No call. That's funny. As here's Callum Hudson-Odoi now. Works to the inside. Finds Hutchinson. Hutchinson will try to shoot. That's going to take a deflection. As that one gets played all the way down. And it looks like Matty Sells will come out. As we hit the 60th minute now. And it looks like Forrest is looking to make some substitutions here. Personally, I would like to see Spurs bring a little bit more attack here. As that pass goes forward. Oh. As Richarlison made an errant pass right there. Coughs it up. Here comes Forrest. Pushing down the left-hand side. And it's going to be Williams with Hudson-Odoi as Williams will play it back to Milinkovic. Here's Morgan Gibbs-White. Around the corner, here's Hudson-Odoi in a dangerous area. And it's 2-0. As Spurs collapse. As Callum Hudson-Odoi looks like he beats Pedro Porro to the edge and was able to get it into a dangerous area. And right there is Morgan Gibbs-White. No, it's a good question, man. Why Bergvall ahead of Pelini or Gallagher? I get it. Come to think of it, it's, why wouldn't you, like, especially a goal down and you're looking for that equalizer, like, why wouldn't you bring in a dude that scored 2 against Atletico, The saving grace right now is the fact that West Ham is losing. As that's good defense right there on Ada. As play resets. It had to be Morgan Gibbs-White, 100%. Spurs have yet to find that Premier League win here. And I will say that in that first half, Spurs were absolutely up for it. We're unlucky to get that goal. And that's a good deflection. Spurs will come away with the possession here. Good hustle by Matisse Dell, but they looked like they were up for it in the first half. They were just unlucky to get that goal. Second half, it's been incredibly flat. That's a good ball to the right. There's a ball in. Headed. Ooh. As Milinkovic did a good job. That was a good ball in right there. That was a good ball to the right side. It was a good ball in right there. As it was Papsar versus Milinkovic. Yeah, that was terrible. Spurs will have another corner here. This will be their 10th. As Matisse Dell is dealing with something here. I don't know, man. I think the I think Igor Tudor potentially got that wrong at the halftime, bringing in both Bergvall and Udoji. I didn't think it was necessary. If you were going to make a switch, then personally, you figure out a way to at least get Xavi onto the pitch, bring in that extra attack-minded player as they're replaying that Morgan Gibbs-White goal, and it looks like Vicario got to it. Forest fans are singing Marinakis, huh? Unbelievable. As Villa has now doubled their lead. It's 2-0 over West Ham. So that's good. And it looks like Tell's coming off. And looks like Richarlison's coming off. And Richarlison's not happy. So Randall Kolo Muani checks in. And Xavi will check in here at the 66th minute. So we'll see what impact those two will have. If Spurs can get one within the next 5-ish minutes, they'll still be in good shape. Yeah, you weren't wrong. You weren't wrong. RKM for Tell. As that one gets cleared. Good Lord, man. That was such a dangerous area. Figure out a way to get a foot on it. As that ball will go long, and that sails over the head, so that'll get out. I think this will be a Forest throw. I don't think Spurs are dead per se, but they actually have to get forward, and they have to get a goal within the next 5 to give themselves some chance here. As that'll come down, and Spurs will come away with it. Oh, and there's no foul. What in the absolute fuck was that? As Xavi comes away with it. Oh, and Xavi tripped. And he's looking for a foul. Yeah, I don't think that would. I think that might have been the right call here. Good hustle for Xavi. It looks like he was tripped. I guess they're going to give him the foul. As it looks like Forest is about to make a change here. So this will be a free kick for Spurs. Interesting. As we are pushing now the 70th minute. 20 minutes remain. Forest leading by 2. As Pedro Porro will chip this in. And Danso couldn't get on it. Spurs look absolutely disjointed here in this second half. A far cry from what we saw in the first half. So it looks like Hudson-Odoi is coming out. And it looks like Igor Jesus might be coming out as well, too. Yep. So Yates is going to come on for Odoi. And Awoni is coming off for Igor Jesus. So there's that. As man. This has been a disappointing turn of events here. I actually thought Spurs looked up for it in that first half. Looks like they had options. Looks like they were attacking with intent, and they were just unlucky not to get a goal. In the second half, though, it's looked incredibly disjointed, and it looks like Forest has taken advantage of it. As that ball will ping around, it'll come down. Archie Gray boots it forward. God damn it! Stop pinging it forward. Just let the ball drop to your foot. Hold possession. As Sells now will play it off, and it's Milinkovic. As Spurs come away with the ball here. And it'll be Christian Romero, as Romero will try to play one forward. As that comes down. Here's Xavi. Flicks it back to Papsar. Plays it off to the right-hand side. Here's Romero. Here's Archie Gray. As Xavi flicks it to the left. As they find Xavi now on the left. Xavi's going to play one in. Back post, there's just nobody there. I wonder if there will be a meetup and a sing-along at the next home game. That's a very good question there, Audio. It looks like fans are already starting to leave here in the 71st minute. This was definitely a disappointing match here for Spurs. As that one gets played out. So this will be a forced throw-in. All credit to Forest in the second half. They were the ones that did the dirty work. Getting themselves in a good position. As Spurs looks like they're going to try to come away with this ball. They do. That was a great hustle play right there by Solanke. As Yates did a very good job, as that one's going to go out, so that'll be a Spurs throw-in. Here's Romero. As it's Pedro Porro now. Plays it forward. That was just a bad pass. As Williams will try to play this one forward. Right there is Vicario, who skies it. And that one will go out. Good Lord. As Spurs have absolutely fallen apart in the second half. There's no other way to say it. As Spurs are trying their damnedest to get forward. As Kevin Danso now. As Gray will play this off to the right-hand side. As Pedro Porro is under pressure here. And now Archie Gray is going to have to play this one back to Danso. Yeah, I mean, this second half has been absolute dog shit. Everything that they did right, as there's a ball that's in. Ooh, and he actually found somebody. And it was Lucas Bergvall who can't hit the target. Oh, that was actually a good ball in by Udoji. And it finds Lucas Bergvall, who can't just get his foot on it. As that one goes wide right. I don't know, man. It's hard to say whether or not there was trouble in the dressing room. I can't necessarily confirm it, but what I will say is that those substitutions at halftime literally made no sense. Unless it was just something that Igor Tudor just saw and wanted to clean it up. But that being said, it's like, I don't know, that first half was actually pretty good. They were aggressive, attacking with intensity. And the second half has been anything but. That's a good little ball forward, but a little too far forward. But Archie Gray comes up with it. And it'll take a deflection, so the Spurs will have a corner here. Archie Gray has had himself a pretty good game as well. Papsar has been absolutely invisible in the second half, as Pedro Porro now will take the corner. I mean, if you were going to be a little bit more defensive, yeah, you bring in Joplin. That's a shot. I think that's going to take a deflection. Papsar got at the end of it. As Sangari had the deflection. As that ball gets popped straight up. And right there is Matty Sells. As we are approaching about 13 minutes left here in the second half. As Sells will play this long. Here's Papsar now. He's going to try to play this one long. And that just goes out of... Jesus Christ. As Papsar just boots it out of bounds. I don't know who he was trying to pick out right there. Oh, and Papsar nearly did it again. Good move right there by Udoji. Here's Simons. Tries to play it in. Takes a deflection. As Omari Hutchinson will get fouled by Papsar. And he is absolutely just come unglued here in the last 5-10 minutes. Yeah, I agree. 100% I agree with you, Carl. Spence and VDV never should have been taken off. As Hutchinson comes on and Ndoye comes on for Forrest here in the 79th minute. As that one will get played out. As it looks like Spurs are about to make another change here. As that ball is rolling around, Forrest will come away with it. Udoji's actually doing a nice job down there, as that ball will ping back. And that gets out of bounds. So that'll be a goal kick for Spurs. I mean, that's the thing, Carl. It made absolutely no sense at the time, to bring both of those players off. And again, you're wondering why that switch was made, and I'm sure we'll find out from Igor Tudor post-match here. I would love to figure out why that happened. Here's Bergvall being closed down. Oh, and Xavi just missed it. That would look like it was a nice little through ball. Xavi just went, it goes right behind Xavi. Xavi doesn't even make an attempt to try to get that ball. As Sells plays it long. And there's a whistle as Zendoy goes down. There's a yellow card. Looks like that'll go against Destiny Udoji. I'm trying to figure out where the foul was. As there was no contact on Ndoye. He just goes down. And they get the call. Terrible, terrible refereeing this afternoon. That's not the reason why Spurs lost this match, by the way. It didn't help. As that's going to get out for a goal kick. Here's Bergvall now. That's a good ball forward, except there was just nobody there. Here's Archie Gray. And it'll be Bergvall trying to play one in. He finds Xavi. As that takes a deflection, but Xavi is able to recollect the ball here. Here's Papsar. Here's Bergvall. Going to try to play one in. Finds Porro. And that'll be a good, that's good defense again right there. So I think this will go out for a corner. That's a nice little through ball right there. As Archie Gray is going to come off now. And here comes Connor Gallagher. As time is running out here this afternoon, as Forest still has a dominating lead in this one, 2-0. And there's going to be a whistle. This one again against Destiny Udoji. Actually, there was contact on that one. As play resumes, as Anderson will play one in, headed away. And there's a shot that Vicario is easily going to be able to handle as we've reached the 84th minute now. As that ball makes its way up to Pedro Porro, he's going to try to play one in. Deflected away by Milinkovic. As Williams is able to get that one forward. And there's going to be a foul against Morgan Gibbs-White. And this was a massive fixture for Spurs. And it was imperative that Spurs were to come away with the 3 points today. But as it reads now, Forest will take a 2-point advantage. over Spurs, who sit in 17th place, still 1 point above the draw. The 1 point above the drop. It's just unreal, as that one will get out. As it looks like it'll be a corner here for Forest. As this will be Forest's only their third corner. Of course, scoring on one right at the end of the first half. As that one will get put in near post, that's going to get headed away. As that one gets played back to Matty Sills. Oh, and there's number 3. Oh, and there it is. Oh, as this one has been an absolute bloodbath. As Sells plays it long. As that was able to find an open man off the left-hand side. I think that might have been Yates. And he just plays one in. And right there, Kevin Danso gets beat. And there it is. There it is. As Kevin Danso gets beat. As this is in some ways equally as embarrassing. There's a shot that's going to get saved by Matty Sells. In some ways, this is even worse than what we saw the first time around at Forest at the City Ground. You know, Forest was dominating in that one from start to finish. And this one, you know, it looked like Spurs were up for it. And, you know, even going into the breakdown one, there still was belief. But at some point, man, I don't understand exactly what that move at halftime was all about. There's a shot that's going to be saved, headed, and it looks like RKM missed it. God damn it. And Spurs, you know, ultimately were incredibly disjointed in the second half. As, damn, that nearly was a headed goal right there. But Matty Sells with an absolute huge save right there in the moment, keeping Spurs out of it. And RKM couldn't head it back in. As we are about 30 seconds away from the 90-minute mark. As Xavi's trying to dribble between two defenders, and he does. And there's going to be a whistle, so Spurs will have a free kick here. Let's see. Carlson Blue says, going into the international break with our form and moment is a recipe for disaster. I think Tudor might get the push, and we come back to Ryan Mason and Harry Redknapp. Oh, I don't know, man. Maybe. Personally, I think this board, specifically, you know, Johan Lang has painted himself into a corner with Igor Tudor. You know, if ownership has to come down yet again, that's ultimately the death knell. for both of those guys. And so you would probably think there's going to be some self-preservation on their part. But this is one of the worst halves of football I think I've seen in quite some time. It didn't help. It didn't help. This has been some of the worst refereeing I've ever seen, but you can't blame the refs, right? Really, for the most part, it was an unnecessary double switch at the half. And because of that, there just was no continuity. But also, I guess credit Forest. Defensively, they stood tall. It looks like McAtee is on now for Forest. As that one will get out. But also, Spurs have nobody to blame but themselves. I mean, they go from looking very good. They look sharp. They look, concise in their passing in the first half to something that resembles something that we saw, under Thomas Frank, where everything just looks disjointed. Yeah, maybe something did happen at the halftime that we're not privy to. I'm sure we're going to find out. We're probably going to find that out really quick in the post game. Igor Tudor doesn't seem to be the type of guy that's going to hold his tongue. So we shall find out. But Spurs go on a 3-week break before they get Sunderland. And, of course, Sunderland did beat Newcastle today, as that one will go out. So it'll be a goal kick for Spurs. As that one will be switched over to Udoji. As RKM does a good job of trying to hold the ball right there off the left-hand touchline here. Spurs will have the throw-in. As this has to be an embarrassing loss, for these players, just considering the momentum it looked like they were building as Bergvall tries to go to the left-hand side. There's just nobody there. As Ndoye goes down. As we are a minute away from the final whistle here. A good acquaintance of mine pregame, predicted a 2-0 Spurs clean sheet. I predicted a 3-1. Boy, were we wrong today. This was just a bad loss all the way around. What I will say is that it's hard not to point your finger at Igor Tudor for that halftime double switch, because it made absolutely no sense in the moment. I couldn't understand the logic behind it. Bringing Bergvall in for 45, coming back off an injury. I expected to see Bergvall at some point, but we're talking like in the 70th minute. I thought for sure that Tudor would at least keep the same 11. And there it is. And there it is, as Spurs get absolutely bludgeoned. 3-0. And Forest now will take the season series And I think they essentially won this thing 6-0 all the way around. As Spurs still stay above the drop by 1 point, as West Ham also lost. I don't pull any punches, right? It makes absolutely no sense that this team could look up for it in that first 45, be the one that was dictating the pace, be the one that was dictating the action for a good portion of that first half. And they actually had options. They had multiple opportunities to get that first goal, and it feels like they were knocking on the door. Even when Forrest scored that goal, you still felt like, Spurs were definitely into it. And then all of a sudden, right there at the beginning of the second half, they make a double switch that it made absolutely no sense in my mind. And then all of a sudden, Spurs literally couldn't get forward. And when they did get forward, nothing looked concise. Nothing looked like it was attacking with intention. It looked like it was just, darts at a dartboard yet again. And so from that standpoint, one has to ask is exactly what happened. What happened at that halftime that made Igor Tudor make that decision to shake it up so radically, because that's the only thing I guess in my mind that made it, that made sense. So let's go ahead and look at the stats real quick. As the final stats will show that Tottenham did win the possession battle 58-42. XG, Forest 1.48 to Spurs 1.14. Total shots, Spurs 14, Forest 8. Shots on target, 7-3 Forest. Big chances. Spurs had 4 and they missed all 4. And Forest had 3 and they only missed 1. Accurate passes, 357 to 253. Fouls committed, both teams had 13. Corners, Spurs dominated that one 13-3 and couldn't find it. XG and open play, here's the big one right here. Forest 1.31 to Spurs 0.68. Spurs did lead set play, XG on set plays 0.46 to 0.17. But again, Forest really only had 3 corners, didn't really do much with those. Except, they did score a goal right there at the end of the first half off a corner. So I guess, fair play. Spurs hit the woodwork once. Shots inside the box, Spurs 7, Forest 6. So Spurs did find a way to the box, and shots outside the box 7-2. Total passes 451 for Spurs, 338 for Forest. Accurate passes in the own half 191 to 119. Opposition half 166 to 134. Accurate long balls 20 to 17. Accurate crosses 6-3 Spurs. Spurs also won the throw battle 16-12. Touches in the opposition box 26-16. So I mean, Spurs, especially in that first half, were very headstrong to get there and try to put themselves in good positions. Yellow cards, Forest 2, Spurs 1. The tackle battle, Forest won that one 21-19. Interception 7-6. Forest blocked 6-1. Clearances 40-12. Keeper saves 4-3. Duels, Spurs won that one 69-56. Ground duels 43-38. Aerial duels 26-18. And successful dribbles 12-5. So all the metrics would point to that Spurs did themselves a favor, 50-50 balls. Now, much of that was in the first half when they were definitely up for this one. But in the end, that second half was so unbelievably piss poor that it's head scratching. It really is. I can't make any sense of it. I know Carl Slim Blue in the chat is saying that something happened at halftime, and maybe that is the case. We are going to find out one way or another. Igor Tudor is the type of guy that is not going to sugarcoat a lot. So we will definitely find that out ASAP. But good Lord, man, this was brutal. This was absolutely brutal. By the way, in the Igor Tudor era, Spurs are 1-1-5 through 7. One win, of course, that came in the Champions League, that second leg. But outside of that, man, it's been brutal. whether or not Spurs decide to make that switch, it's going to be very interesting to see exactly how this international break will play out. One of the things that Spurs are going to have to ask themselves is whether or not the juice is worth the squeeze. And what do I mean by that? Because, it's taken Igor Tudor, essentially 5 games to kind of get their fitness levels back in to a position where they were actually to run and get forward and to play a type of style of football that, is a little bit favorable to these players. You look at some of these players, they're very much attacking players. And some of the things that Spurs have done right, getting through balls, getting players in advantageous positions where they're able to take shots or make clean, concise passes. In that sense, I would say that it does favor the players a little bit, but when you see a match like this, your mind initially goes back to whether or not this thing is going to be able to work out. And I have no idea what's going to happen. I would like to say that there is a clear-cut coach out there that can come in and do the job, but Ryan Mason has already held the caretaker positions on a few occasions for this team, and it wasn't really all that great. And if the team is desperate enough, yeah, sure, maybe. Harry Redknapp is 78, and granted, there's only 5-ish matches left, so yeah, maybe he could potentially do a job. But he's been out of the game for 10 years, so it's who is available that you'd be willing to entrust this football team for the final stretch. I still think there are wins out there. I still believe that this team is capable. Yeah, Dyche is available too, but that being said, I think Dyche has already said no. I wouldn't mind having Sean Dyche the rest of the way, but that being said, you have to have a dance partner who is willing to come in and do that. Yeah, put Ben Davis in charge. Yeah, come on, man. Yeah, that's not going to happen. I can't see a player coach being appointed. Personally, I think this is, if Igor Tudor is to go, it is going to be yet again a ownership step in. And if that's the case, then that's good for me, because that means that Johan Lang and Vinny Venkatesham are pretty much out the door, as they should. Considering I think that they want to hire Dougie Friedman to run the football operations. And I would absolutely love the idea of Dougie Friedman. But, it's going to be interesting to see exactly how this plays out and whether Spurs are going to make that decision to, let him go. I think Igor Tudor didn't necessarily realize what he was getting himself into when he took this job. I didn't think he realized the challenges that he had. I think it was a rude awakening, and I think he had to do what he had to do to figure out the best combinations. But when you have those type of results, man, when you have the result against Liverpool, and then when you actually have that type of win against a team like Atletico Madrid, it shows that the players are definitely hungry. But that being said, it's what is it about today? Was it specifically just the double switch that put them in that position? Great question. I don't know, man, but we're going to find out pretty quickly. And it's a shame too, because Spurs absolutely needed it. And the only saving grace was the fact that West Ham lost today as well too. Again, I think it was a combination of a few things, right? I think not getting those calls to go their way when there were clearly 2 penalties that should have been called. Clearly. And Spurs were not given the benefit of the doubt. And in the second half, there was still more, piss poor calls that took away momentum from this team. But again, I'm not going to sit here and blame referees for this one. Something definitely happened that forced Igor Tudor's hand at the half, and that took away all continuity from this team. And as a result, we saw that. And it's a shame, too. It's an absolute shame. Let's see. A lot of these players lack motivation, hardly any hunger. I don't know about that, though. That's the thing. I don't know about that. Because, we saw this team fight at Anfield. We saw this team fight against Atletico. And maybe this is the curse of this team where they only show up against big opponents. And sit back on their laurels against teams like Nottingham Forest, where theoretically we should be able to play them off the pitch, and then we don't. Let's see. Can I see Liverpool sacking Arne Slot? Yeah, I would probably think that's potentially could happen. I think that potentially could happen. It's been a disappointing year for Liverpool. Expectations are always high when it comes to Liverpool, so it is what it is, but the saving grace was that West Ham lost today. And because of that, Spurs are able to maintain their 1-point advantage above the drop. As I'm sitting here watching the Villa West Ham highlights here. Yeah, there it is. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Again, disappointing performance from Spurs, and man, oh man. Where does this team go from here? You're kind of hoping that there would be a nice victory to send this team off into the international break, and instead there's more questions than normal. It's too bad. That being said, man, I want to thank all of those that are tuning in via X and also YouTube. I want to thank Carl Slim Blue and Dan Davenport, those that took part in the chat today, man. It's been real. Again, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, hit the notification bell, because we are now in the international break. And so from that standpoint, you're going to see a lot of the U.S. men's national team, just the way you guys like it. I know those lads over there across the pond love themselves, the United States. So I got you covered, guys. So take care. Enjoy it, man. Have a good afternoon. Take care. Bye.